Hi friends, and welcome back to the Meditative Aiden YouTube channel, where we talk about mindfulness and how to develop mindfulness and mindful tools, tips, and tricks to help you work through the challenges and experiences of everyday life. My name is Aiden Norris, in case you were wondering, and today we're going to be talking about walking meditation. So first and foremost, the thing about yoga and sitting meditation and these usual methods that I've talked about in the past is that with these practices, it usually takes time and space to perform. And the issue in modern society is we don't have a lot of time to do those things. We're already trying to cram as much as we can into the shortest amount of time possible, which makes it really difficult to actually start a mindfulness practice. Now, if you watched last week's video, you know that it's really important to set mindfulness goals and mindfulness, progress, milestones, and things like that. But the issue with that is that sometimes we can get overwhelmed with the number of things we have to do, even in the presence of these goals. And no matter what you're doing, if you break it into sizable steps, you might still be having a difficult time making the time to practice mindfulness. I love sitting meditation, I really do, and I'm very fortunate that I have the time right now to sit down and practice that. I also love doing yoga and things like that because it's like a meditation that's moving. But the thing is that both of those can cost money, and they can cost time, and they cost space. And for those of you that have families or are living in dorms or apartments or whatever, it can be really hard to find all of those things without interruption. And the thing is that even if you have the opportunity to meditate or do yoga, you might get caught up with your fidgety mind telling you all of the things that you have to do, all of the commitments that you have. And that can make meditation and yoga so frustrating because you're just trying to find mindfulness and instead your mind is just reminding you of everything else that you have to do. And this is why I love to talk about walking meditation. If this is something you haven't heard of before, then you're in luck, because today we're going to talk about, what it is, why it's here, and how to practice it. The thing about mindfulness is that you don't have to develop it just by sitting down and doing meditation or by just going and doing yoga classes. Because mindfulness is all about bringing your awareness into the present moment and away from distractions on something centering. So no matter what you're doing, if you're able to center your focus on something and remove your distractions, just by, not bringing your attention back from them, then you're practicing mindfulness. So you can do this when you're talking to friends, you can do this when you're eating, you can do this when you're getting ready to go to bed, you can do this nearly anytime, anywhere. But in particular, walking meditation is one of the best substitutes for, sitting meditation or yoga or other practices, because I know for a fact that all of us have to walk at some point in the day, whether that's from your bed to the shower or from your car to your class or your workspace to another workspace, whatever. Walking is pretty consistent. So according to what I just said, walking meditation means that you are focusing your attention on one thing that'll help you bring your attention back to whenever you're distracted while walking. What this means is that when you're walking, you find something to center yourself on. Now, for some people, that's the feet. For some people, that's the breath. Either way, the purpose of walking meditation is to become immersed in the experience and to continue, challenging yourself to come back to the experience of the present moment and to come back from those distractions that pull you away from it. So walking meditation, first and foremost, involves walking. You don't need to necessarily not have any distractions. You may be able to do it while you're just walking with some coworkers. And in fact, constantly, I do this at work when I'm just walking to and from my different areas in my workstation. What I do when I practice walking meditation is first I focus on my feet. For me, the feet are the centering object, the grounding object of walking meditation. So what this means is that as I'm going through, it's very similar to focusing on the breath, but instead I'm focusing on all of the sensations that are going on in my feet as I walk. What this means is that I am feeling the sensation as my heel strikes the floor, as the weight of my body goes over the arch of my foot, and then as it goes onto my toes and I press off into the next step. What you do with walking meditation though is you continue to do this throughout your whole body and feel every part of you that's moving in relation to walking. So I will start by, taking X amount of steps and just allowing myself to fall into the rhythm of walking, what it feels like to walk, what mindfulness I can attribute to that walking, what attention I can pay to it, and what different sensations I'm experiencing in my feet alone. Now the thing is that in the feet alone, if you find that really boring, you're not paying enough attention to it. And this is similar with sitting meditation or yoga. If you feel like you're getting bored in the grounding object, it's actually because you're not focusing on it with enough concentration or with enough curiosity. So if you come to your feet while you're walking and you're like, okay, now this is getting boring, I'm not getting anything out of this, all you have to do is apply a little more attention to that, to really seek out each individual sensation as it occurs. Now, I really like to walk a little more slowly, especially when I'm performing walking meditation, because it helps me focus on those sensations. Now, getting back to what we were talking about before, as you're walking, you allow yourself to experience the sensations moving up your body. But you do it one piece at a time, because otherwise you're going to overwhelm yourself with the amount of stuff you have to pay attention to. So what I do is I then pay attention to my calves. What kind of muscle movements are going on? The feeling of, the wind on my calf hairs, because I guess my calf hairs are that long. And then you move up to, the knee. What sensations can you feel in the knee? What experiences are in the knee? And again, at this point already, I know for me, I've been distracted or gotten caught in some kind of thought at least 5 times by now. And when that happens, it's just so important to bring your attention back into that grounding matter, that experience of your feet hitting the floor. So then after the knees, you work up through the thighs and you work up through the hips to feel the sensations of every step and how it impacts each individual part of your body. This goes up through the torso, into the chest, the shoulders, how the shoulders move with your walking, how the arms swing, and maybe even the bob of your head, depending on how you walk. If you walk like this, you probably have too much swagger and maybe should spend some mindful time contemplating how to get rid of swagger. Anyway, so the power of walking meditation is that one, it's so convenient. It is so easy to practice it at any time, any day. Again, because all of us spend time walking. There's no excuse not to practice it, in all honesty. And the thing is that you can practice it at whatever pace feels comfortable to you. One of the other benefits that I like about it is that I can find mindful presence while I'm walking from my workspace to the bathroom. Or I can find mindful presence as I just walk to the car or something like that. And that gives me a little bit of breathing room, a little bit of calm and clarity to remind myself to experience everything in a similar way, with that sense of open-minded mindfulness, that sense of just peace and I guess you could say bliss or something like that. Something else that's really important to do while you're walking though, is once you finish going through the entire body, you finish feeling every movement, you ask yourself a few questions such as, what is it that I smell? And you give yourself a few moments, a few steps, however many steps you need to just experience the smells that surround you. To just experience, maybe there's a sewage pipe right there that smells gross. And honestly, I wouldn't blame you if you decided to plug your nose. But you might also smell some flowers, the smell of blossoming trees, the smell of the ocean, the smell of the mountain air, or something like that. Then you can ask yourself, what is it that I'm hearing? And you just allow yourself to focus your attention on your ears. What sensations, what sounds are you picking up through your ears? You might be able to hear cars, you might be able to hear people talking, you might even be able to hear your own footsteps if you're in a quiet enough space. And you might even be able to hear this, you can hear the sound of the footsteps traveling through your body and what that's like. One of the last things to ask is, what can I see? And you just allow yourself to look at the different things around you with a soft gaze, just perceiving, I can see this orange of this flower, I can see the color of this car, I can see the beautiful gray of this sidewalk. And if you ever say that sidewalks are beautiful, you might have other challenges to face because sidewalks are not very beautiful. They're gray and made of concrete and boring. So yeah, the thing with all of these sensations though, is it's so easy as soon as you smell something, as soon as you see something or hear something, to get caught in some kind of thought pattern or some kind of distraction, because each of these sensations will trigger different memories in your brain. And immediately your brain is going to start going over, okay, here's this memory to think about, here's this experience to plan for, here's this thing you need to be doing right now, oh, my back hurts. And with each of these sensations, as you think about, that perception, as you smell it, you're doing it in a way that allows you to maintain distance from it, appreciating it, but not getting sucked into the experience, not getting caught up in it. So when I see a beautiful flower, it's really easy for me to get caught up in the experience of all the different beautiful flowers I've seen and where I've seen them. But instead of allowing myself to get sucked into that, my response is to say, okay, I recognize that I'm getting distracted by other thoughts of flowers, but I want to stay here in the present moment just to experience this flower right here, right now. Similarly, if you're just walking, in your office from one place to another, and you smell something like books, it can bring back so many memories of studying or reading as a kid. But instead, you don't get sucked into those experiences. You just allow yourself to smell that book, to smell that thing, and allow yourself to just appreciate that moment for what it's worth. And again, as soon as that moment becomes distracted, you take the time to focus back on the feet, to focus on the experience of walking and whatever it is that grounds you into this exercise. Walking meditation is just as powerful as sitting meditation if you do it right, because both of them are just utilizing the ability to bring your awareness back onto a single factor and to bring your awareness away from distractions and thought patterns and things like that. So similarly, when I'm walking, I might have a sudden thought pop up like, I'm not good enough, which for all of us can be all too common, especially if we've been going through a challenging day. And the thing is that walking meditation and sitting meditation and yoga all teach you the same way to deal with that experience. They all teach you that when that experience occurs, you recognize it, you accept it, you investigate it, and then you don't identify with it. You practice non-identification, stepping away, just saying, I see that I'm experiencing this, and allowing yourself to continue in the present moment without that identification. The thing is that walking meditation can kind of bleed into a variety of different practices. And what I love is that it teaches me how to bring mindfulness in day-to-day situations where I'm not, it's hard when you're sitting down in a chair and you're meditating to then take the lessons you learn from that and apply it in the real world. I mean, I could make a whole video series on that alone, but that's really what is the major difficulty with learning meditation, is how do you apply what you learn into the real world? And with walking meditation, you are doing that in the moment that you're doing it. So what this means is that, the lessons that you're learning through this help you learn how to practice and develop and cultivate that sense of mindfulness in day-to-day activities such as cooking, reading, singing. I don't know why singing comes to mind, but nonetheless, all of these different activities, talking to friends, doing your work, writing, getting dressed, taking a shower, because you're involved in a present experience that's moving. And you're constantly teaching yourself to bring your awareness back into the present moment and that grounding sensation. So you can take this experience of walking meditation and over time learn how to develop that and cultivate it into other practices. So when I'm talking to friends, my grounding sensation, my grounding perception might be what I'm hearing them say. Or it might be, how they're looking at me, or eye contact or something like that. It's all about finding that rhythmic grounding presence to bring your awareness back to. Similarly, if you are taking a shower, it could be just the sensation of water hitting your back for a moment, or where it is that you're feeling the water hit your back. Again, that's why I love walking meditation, because it's so simple, it's so straightforward, and it's so easy to practice. I actually have found that some of my most profound experiences have been while I'm walking, just walking around the block, really, and the amazing ability you have to perceive the different things going on with a new level of depth that you've never experienced before. and also then to take that and then come back to where you are, back into the present moment, to whatever it is you're doing next. And you're carrying that experience with you just into that sense, just into that next experience, that next situation that you're in. I really want to encourage you to practice this sense of walking meditation. I think that it's really useful, especially, if you find yourself stressed or in a difficult situation, to be able to take some time to maybe just go for a quick walk. Whether that's just going outside of your office and walking up and down the sidewalk once or something like that, or walking between classes. The benefit is that it gives you that clarity in the moment. And if you want to learn more about this and get a little more of an in-depth guide on step-by-step, I really encourage you to go check out our website. Because recently on the website I just posted this article about how to practice walking meditation in a step-by-step manner. And I think that there's a lot of enlightenment to be found there, a lot of learning that you can find. In addition, there are a lot of different resources you can use to learn how to practice walking meditation. I almost said walking mindfulness, but it's the same thing. One of those great resources is an app like Headspace, which I'm not sponsored by the way. And the thing about that app is, as you're walking, you just have someone guiding you through that experience to help remind you as you're walking, okay, just take a deep breath and focus back on your feet. What are you feeling? What are you seeing? And so on and so forth. I want to encourage you to go do that. I want you to let me know how it goes, what that experience was like. I want to remind you again, like some of my favorite experiences with meditation and mindfulness have been while walking. And I found this particularly useful when I'm going hiking or in nature or something, because it allows me to immerse myself in the experience of the present moment. Tell me how the experience goes. Let me know what you think of it. And don't forget that you can find plenty of additional advice on Instagram and Facebook. You can find the full article on the website at meditativeaiden.com. And if you're ever walking or something like that and just need to be reminded, I also have a podcast on this. And it's not a full meditation, but I think that you'll find it really useful. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure to let us know by subscribing below or commenting or giving it a thumbs up or anything really. Really appreciate you guys tuning in, and we'll see you next week.